Welcome to the Operation STRIX podcast. I am your host, The Crow. Due to us having to edit this one around a little bit, got a little choppy. So, introducing our lineup for this episode, we have myself, Roski Draftsman, and Cool Blue Rays, and we will be discussing manga chapter 62.3 and anime episode 6. I'm trying
Let's start off with
to start off.
Yeah.
People listening to this are gonna be like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" Okay, we're starting things off with the manga chapter, 62.3, the final piece of this. I guess like trilogy
chapter
arc.
62.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
which I thought we were gonna have like a full arc. I'm glad we didn't because one, it was a long chapter. It was 33 pages, which we haven't got in a long time. And on top of that, Endo really stuffed this one with like basically all of the things that we were thinking about and like wanting to see.
And still putting like a fucking plot twist that just
A hell of a plot twist.
Gut.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So
let's start off with the whole bit with Frankie because that part
was really interesting.
It was.
I called it.
You called? Oh yeah, you said that Frankie was Austanian.
You were right. Frankie is Austanian. I totally just thought he's from another country and he's wearing a soldier uniform, but no, he just ran away from Austanian forces.
Which
he
is
doesn't
so
want to do this
Frankie.
anymore.
He would totally be AWOL.
Oh yeah, that was the moment he started. Well, Twilight or Roland or however the fuck he's called because it's redacted.
Yeah.
Redacted. That's his name.
Redacted.
His name is Redacted.
Well, so yeah. So the moment Redacted started thinking about the quote unquote enemies as human.
Yeah.
You know? It was a moment because
Frankie's little. I don't want to die because I've never touched a woman.
That was oh my god, that was the best. I love how their friendship started over the fact that Frankie was like, "I'm still a virgin," and we're just like, "Nerd."
And then I guess Twilight. I'll call him Twilight. He's just like, "What is wrong with this guy?" And he like actually kind of laughs, like, "This dude's an idiot."
that smile he has is just like you could tell that's like the first time he smiled in like years.
In a long time.
Long time.
Which I'm sorry. Just the fact that Loid had that reaction. Now I'm like, okay, like despite you being all like angsty and like against the world and shit like that, like you're still getting some action, like.
Somehow.
Wow.
I'm saying, I was like, he's 17. Like, I guess no matter how tragic your backstory is, you're still like, hey, girls are cool.
I mean, he did something to.
Oh God. Okay, I guess we're. Yes, he's a 17-year-old. He's a hormonal ass.
He's like 16, 17, because he's not old enough to be in the army.
Of course, he's gonna get his somehow, right? Hey, you said it. I'm just completing the thought.
Oh god damn.
Just cut that out.
I don't know if I should, Blue.
Oh no, wait.
I don't know if I should cut that out.
Okay.
Yes. Loid has some. Frankie has none. He's just a lonely ass man.
He's a lonely ass man, and
he still is.
But he's lonely, but he is smart beyond his years because even at that young of an age, he's like he already sees the bullshit behind everything going on.
The pointlessness of war.
Yeah.
I really like I like what he talks like. He just rambles about, oh yeah, there was like a study done at a university talking about like how it's you know, it's against human nature to be violent, but when people were given some kind of context or some kind of story behind like why this man in the video was being slapped by the woman, people were actually like enjoying it. And like the point of that story was just like when you come up with a reason to justify the violence, people are suddenly okay with it.
Exactly.
Even though they wouldn't be okay with it if they had not known what it was about.
Yeah.
That was basically the point of his story.
It was a reflection on tribalism.
What were you saying, Roski?
It was a reflection on propaganda and tribalism.
Yes.
Essentially. Because the thing is, the story that Frankie told, while not a direct match, it actually mirrors some real life experiments that have been done in sociological circles. So in sociology they do, and psychology they do make experiments like this, and they do show that if you give people an arbitrary reason enough, they will start antagonizing others or start thinking that violence is justified
Yeah.
against others, even if the reasons aren't good enough.
Yes, exactly.
So I also want to add on to that. I mean, they've had studies where it's not main protagonist syndrome, but it's something along those lines where it's like bullies when they watch a movie about an underdog getting bullied, they root for the underdog. They don't root for the bullies, even though they're the ones also doing the same things in real life because they see themselves as the victim and they empathize with the victim, the main character of the story. So I think that also has a part into playing in all of this where it's like I'm not wrong. I'm not in the wrong. And it goes back to the whole, justification thing where it's like once you give them that justification to where it gives them an out to be like what I'm doing is right. Like it's and it snowballs into a countrywide conflict, and as Frankie says, it's the little guy getting caught in the crossfire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The ones in powers don't suffer. They actually benefit quite a lot from manipulating with the lives of an entire population of people, basically. Yeah. They get to choose practically who lives and who dies just because they believe it's justified for whatever bullshit reason that this war technically was started on.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, I have to say, like, if I had not seen the context of what had happened to Loid or Twilight before when he was a child and how he lost everything, I probably would have been more like off put by, oh, he became a soldier but he's so against going to war and he advocates for peace at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I'm shocked that he would have been a soldier, but knowing now what he went through it makes total sense. That was his first thought. It's like, I'm going to get revenge on everyone I lost by killing the enemy and killing as many of them as I possibly can, without sympathizing or realizing that they also lost people. They're also going through a lot of pain, just like he is. Because Frankie also says that too. When Loid says, I lost people, and Frankie's like, same thing. Same bestie. I also lost people.
And I really wanted to see him talk more about that. Like, I want to know what happened to Frankie, but we don't get to see that.
With his family. But we can assume it was nothing good.
Oh yeah, for both sides, and it really, I really enjoyed. Well, I really appreciated like the fact that
enjoy's the right word.
Right, that Frankie really just like shattered Lloyd's whole perspective on everything, and he took it the way I would assume somebody would take it, was just like he was in complete denial and he was pissed off and he was ready to kill Frankie, but like deep down he knew that Frankie was right, so he couldn't pull the trigger. And then and then Loid ends up getting shot and Frankie ditches him in typical Frankie fashion.
I want to talk a little bit.
He was running away, so
yeah, but I want to talk a little bit about what Frankie mentioned. They said the first bombing of Lewin was a false flag operation. I did a little Google searching about it because I was curious.
Yeah.
Apparently, a first flag operation, it's supposed to basically mean an act committed with intent of disguising actual sense of responsibility and pinning blame on another party. In terms of naval warfare, it means, like, for example, a vessel might fly a neutral or an enemy flag in order to hide their true intentions.
Yeah.
And from the rumors Frankie said about Westalis got operatives from another country involved to incite Austanians to act on this, it sounds like what happened is that what maybe Westalian, like, higher ups hired another country to basically fake being Austanians in order to pull off this attack or this bombing, maybe, or something along the lines of getting Austanians involved just to incite war. But it sounds like either it was Westalians could have maybe started it, but again, that could also just be more propaganda bullshit coming from both sides.
I'm sure it's mostly propaganda bullshit.
Because
But
Loid and Frankie both said, no, we heard that you guys started the war. You
yeah,
guys started it.
Yeah. So
I'm sure it's a little bit of
a rogue-
both. There's always a grain
I'm
of
sure.
truth in everything, and
And every
you
kind of
bringing this
bullshit. Yeah.
up, I don't want to be cynical, but at the same time, to
I
think
kind of wonder if Wise, yeah,
no,
might
not
be.
I'm not talking about
No?
Wise. I'm talking about Lloyd's dad.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Yeah,
I was kind of wondering
Oh.
that too. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of wondering, like, did he have some kind of part to play in all this?
because that was very convenient timing. Like even though
Right.
even though we know he knew something, I was not. It's still very
Like
suspicious
how
that it happened literally
how
the day
active
after.
he was in that.
Yeah,
Right. And I mean,
Wait.
pretty
Oh my
shitty of
god.
him to leave his wife and son there if that's the case.
yeah.
Why
I
do I
don't.
have the suspicion he's Estonian?
Yeah, I don't know the context, and I don't know if it's me just pulling hairs out of nothing. But like it's there.
Well,
No,
there are certain
I think
clues being
it's
laid
there.
out.
Like
Right.
maybe he's an Estonian mole or something like that.
I mean, there are certain clues being laid out right now. We have very little information to go off of, but I don't think that could be out of the realm of possibility because, Endo shows these details for a reason. Obviously, there has to be a reason why we saw not Endo, we saw Twilight's father. We don't have any confirmation if he's alive or dead
Yeah.
for now.
We don't even know how he actually looks
Right.
like.
Okay. And speaking of, all right, even the people that we thought were dead were not dead.
Oh God, yes.
Okay,
Oh my
so
God.
Oh yeah, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
clever.
Okay. Well,
that
not dead
sucked
anymore.
ass.
But so yeah, Lloyd gets injured. He gets taken off duty. And
he's
then
just peeling potatoes and
just
chopping
peeling
them.
potatoes, and all of a sudden, guess who walks by? His three friends that he thought has been dead for 10 years.
Yeah.
Which
His childhood best friends.
I thought it was a dream. I thought it was. I straight up because the panel before that was him going to bed or something like the moon, him going to bed or whatever. So I was like, oh,
right,
he's
right.
like dreaming right now. But like,
Oh,
no,
God.
they were actually alive. Like,
Yeah. It was so jarring. I saw that like, wait, advisor, like, oh my God, it's them. Like, they're alive.
yeah,
And they're all grown up and they look like more or less the same.
yeah.
I couldn't fucking believe it,
And they
man.
recognized him like right off the bat.
And then and then Loid completely breaks down and starts crying about, oh my God, my friends are alive. I blamed myself for thinking you guys were dead because of me.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Right. That face.
Sorry, I'm getting a little teary-eyed
Yeah,
here. Jesus.
Yeah.
If you wanted to see crying Lloyd, you were happy this week. You sick fucks.
Oh my God,
I have never
Wow.
seen Loid cry. It was so weird to see him like so emotional and just completely break down like
Yeah.
that. It's like, oh my God, because he's never gone to that point at all.
Well,
The
that
current
coupled
Loid.
with the whole incident with Frankie, like I said, that really just like broke him in a
Yeah.
good way because he stopped seeing the bullshit, I guess, or at least stopped accepting the bullshit because I mean, he straight up says he's like, they told me, well, I doubt that they actually told him that they were dead, but he's like, they made me believe you were dead, like, and like now you're here standing in front of me, and like I got this other guy telling me that all this other propaganda is going on. He's like, I don't know what to believe. All I know is that y'all are my friends, and I can't wait for us to start hanging out again. And then
No, he
And
just
then
wanted
they-
to have fun with them. That really hurt.
yeah,
Oh.
and then
And then they died.
And then they
died
got
for real.
deployed. Yeah, then they actually died.
yeah, and he didn't
Ah.
because he was injured.
The war took them one way or another.
Right.
I
You
mean,
know?
I think. I mean, the strange thing is that in other manga, maybe I will find this whole ordeal, the way these backstories are structured a little too rushed. But here it establishes all the important points. That how his entire beliefs had got broken down point by point. Like, and it's interesting because it's not only does it pertains his views about how he thinks of other people, about the nature of conflict, but how he thinks about the truth.
Yeah.
Because like all these whole blaming things on himself were entirely about his own doing in a way because well he just made the assumption.
Right.
So
He didn't
all he
care
could
about the
do.
facts.
So
Right.
yeah, now he's like, huh, not knowing can get people killed.
Exactly. And
So
Yeah, that panel of him standing like among those guns, the silhouette, where he says, "Ignorance isn't bliss. Ignorance is weakness. Ignorance is sin." I was like, "Oh shit!"
that
I mean,
really, yeah,
That
that
that's
really hit.
that's that's
I
actually a really
really,
powerful thing to say right now.
yeah,
Like, really powerful thing to say in the world we live in for so many reasons.
that's
Yeah,
absolutely right.
it
I mean,
it really hit.
misinformation, fake
It really hit
news,
hard.
as memeable as it is, it gets people killed. And
Yeah,
you know,
yes, it does.
we Endo is a very politically minded person, and I'm sure he had all of this. I wouldn't say planned out, but he had all of this in his head the minute current world events started. So
Yeah,
I have no doubt in my mind that this is a direct critique of that. And then at the same
it's
time,
No, no, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
the rubber
yeah,
ball things.
it's so
Rubber.
fascinating how relevant this chapter about a war that took place in a fictional country in the 1950s, I guess, 60s, like how relevant this talk
Uh,
about
let's not talk
about
about it.
information and ignorance,
yeah,
it still rings true today because unfortunately human beings are more or less always going to be the same
because
no matter what we
unfortunately,
have going on.
Yeah, we really haven't learned sharing.
war never
We have,
changes.
yeah,
I know that's also a meme, but it's
yeah,
also true. So,
yeah,
but
war doesn't change.
it doesn't.
And
And I really,
ugh,
from a storytelling perspective, I I applaud Endo because he pulled the rug out from us. He gave his own character hope, for the future, and then immediately destroyed that hope in a way that made him completely change as a character, and then
yeah,
into the character that we know. And
it's such a fascinating transformation, like evolution of Twilight becoming Twilight.
right, the little boy that we saw in the beginning turn into this just
Right.
destroyed man, and it's well,
And he's only like 18.
yeah,
Oh my god, I keep having to remind myself he's only fucking 18.
yeah. Like if you imagine going through this when you were his age, like do you
I
imagine
don't think I would
thinking
have
that you had
survived.
killed your friends when you were 7 years old, and that you had to kill people to avenge them, and then finding out that no, you didn't need to do that at all, and that you basically wasted your life for
Right.
nothing.
Uh,
You
I
did
mean,
this quote unquote for your country and
Well,
I
he doesn't
mean,
give a
I
shit
think
about this country. He straight up told. So okay, when later on when
yeah, not anymore.
yeah when so we don't okay going on to the next part of wise. I'm calling them wise, even though I don't think it's wise. I think it's literally just military information, or
Oh,
psyops,
I
all of
see.
that stuff. When the
uh,
gentleman in the trench coat comes over and is like, "Hey, I know you're not Roland Spoofy," which, by the way, is actually a real name, which we found
Cannot
out is
believe
some
that.
old guy's
Horrible.
name.
Spoofy is her real name.
Yeah,
What kind of family lineage goes with
Mr. Spoofy.
I mean, it's like I'm.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
I mean, I kind of imagining them as gangsters.
The Spoofy gang.
Please, guys.
Family.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
There's
but yeah, no, and then that whole bit where he's just like, "Look, you either join us or I court martial you." And Lloyd's like, he already had that epiphany about misinformation and all of that. And he's like, "Fine." And then on the train,
Yeah,
and he's like, you're doing this for your country. And he's like, let me be honest with you. He's like, I'm not doing this for my country or anybody else. And he's like, why? Oh, he's like, well, what are you doing it for? And those four little boys run by, and Lloyd's just like, no reason at
no
all.
reason.
And just
And
like
the
They're gonna
wise
like,
agent
yeah,
immediately
bullshit.
calls him out on his bullshit, like, all right, you little liar.
right. He
Yeah.
knows immediately. He's like, "You're so full of shit."
I mean, he
I
has to be.
genuinely hope this is Midnight. I don't know. It probably could be just one-off spy guy.
Okay, so for any of those who don't know, Midnight is our other server OC, who is the mentor
Yeah.
of Twilight, which we found out is actually more like Handler, because Handler was the one who ended up whipping him into the master spy that we know and love, which I thought
I
was
love
really
it.
interesting.
I love it. I know. I mean, I kind of saw it coming, but I love it. I still want to know her backstory, but
Same, but I guess we'll just have to save that for another time.
yeah, because apparently the training was so traumatic. He woke up.
I know we didn't see anything about that. He just started screaming.
I'd like
howling.
okay.
Oh shit!
So I like
But
to
the-
think
Not
that
this part.
yeah, I like
So
to
the
think
war
part of
wasn't
it
as
was
traumatizing as the training.
I like to think part of it was legitimately like Endo running out of space to like actually write more stuff. But at the same time he was like, "No, this is a good place to end it. Like Handler's pretty traumatic, so we'll just cut it right there."
Okay, no, I have to see that training too.
Right.
And then, of course, Loid, doing training with Fiona, probably did it differently, and she just completely fell in love with him. It's like, oh god, I think he did something wrong there.
He did. He's
Oh,
not
yeah,
a
he
good
fucked
teacher.
I mean, part of me, kind of wonders if Loid ever had feelings for Sylvia at any point. I
That
don't know.
wouldn't?
Be, that
Well,
would be an interesting avenue, but
I don't think so. I think he's just too afraid of her to worry about that.
I
exactly.
mean, yeah.
She probably like took out a banana and started chopping it.
I mean, it's my crack ship, so
That would
like,
be an
you know.
interesting thing.
I'm kind of with you there, Crow. Not gonna lie, I think they would be kind of an interesting couple, but I can't do that to myself.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's a crack ship.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the awkward thing, but
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Twilight respects and is too scared of Sylvia to ever
As
dream
he
of that.
should be.
Yeah, as one should be.
Right.
Sylvia's a scary ass lady, and Roski is in love with her.
Right.
That's his wife.
Can't
so
move in
no one
on
else can
Roski's
have her.
girl.
But
Yeah.
I still have to wonder what the hell went down there because he really is scared of it.
Oh, and speaking of Loid wakes up and I'm like half the fandom called it, where it turns out that he's been asleep this whole time because he passed out from Anya telling him about her tonitrous
He
bolt.
straight up just fainted.
Just
Yeah.
Yor put him on the couch and was just like, okay, it's sleepy time now, and then he woke up and Anya is you know what? And Endo was going to confirm this, that he was gonna have Anya read his mind, but he doesn't remember the dream, so she can't see the dream in his head. It's just like a blur.
This is just something for the fans to know, but no one else.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Exactly. Which I do appreciate, because I don't want Anya to be emotionally scarred for life.
I know, same.
Yeah, but it would have been nice. I don't know. I think
I don't know if nice would be the right word.
you know. I mean, so
It would be interesting.
I like what he ended up doing, which was Anya kind of got the sense that Loid had a moment, because you know, at first she's like, oh yeah, by the way, I got the tonitrous bolt, that's why you passed out, I'm so sorry, and he's just like, you know, she's like, oh god, evil Papa's back.
Yeah, evil Papa, that was so
so he's pissed off, and she's expecting him to
like,
yell
I'm
at her,
not
and
angry
he's just like,
yet.
well, at least
And, like,
he's like,
I'm
at
not
least you
angry.
made friends, and he's like, that's all that matters. And then she's just looking at him like, that doesn't sound like you, like, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah, he got so sentimental. It's like, oh no, something's wrong with Papa.
right.
He got sentimental.
Yeah.
So
At the very
I
least,
also love how he said, like, I'm not angry yet.
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 I do think that was a nice, sweet little moment, and I think that does kind of solidify for fans as well that, oh, I think Damien actually is going to start maybe seeing Anya as a friend. Maybe, you know, actually start being a little nicer to her.
A little bit.
Who knows? I mean, he's still like he's still super emotionally stunted and cannot stand the thought of thinking her
Oh yeah.
as like cute, but maybe this will actually be a really good shift for him in his mentality.
Yeah.
It'd be great because we're already 62 chapters in. I'm kind of a little tired of Damien being a little shit.
Yeah, he's coming around. He's been slowly
He's coming
getting better.
around a little bit, but yeah.
I yeah, and
And of course,
yeah,
that last little scene of them having dinner together.
I love that. I love when they have dinner in the living room. I don't know why. That's just like peak domesticity for me.
It just hits different.
Yeah. And Lloyd,
And
I don't know, Lloyd's little laugh, and he's like, "Yes, I'll make dinner."
He's got his face up on the table. It's so cute.
Yeah.
They have onion soup. It's like, oh my god, the onions! You just keep coming.
The
back.
onions. It's
All
like
these onions
layers.
making
Yeah.
me cry.
Endo really liked onions this chapter. I don't know why.
Yeah, someone unfortunately pointed out that it kind of reminded me of Shrek. And
It totally reminded me of
kinda
Shrek.
Right. And I fucking
Onions
hate it.
have
I hate
layers.
that onion layer thing. It just makes me think of Shrek now.
Yeah.
God damn it. I better not see any Shrek Spikes family.
Shut up! Don't give Snooze any ideas.
No. Oh my god, that
Minions was pretty bad, but
because
sorry.
Minions is still going on, so we have to suffer through that.
Sorry, it's too late. I already put it out there. I'm gonna manifest it. Shrek X
Stop
Family
manifesting.
is gonna be a thing.
I'm gonna
get out the prayer dance right now.
No, not the Shrek prayer dance.
No, I mean Anya's prayer dance.
Okay, that's
Same
fine.
difference, I guess.
Okay. Moving on.
I have to end this on a nice note.
Right, and I'm so glad that.
And somehow that nice note is Shrek.
Yeah.
Okay, no, Shrek isn't a nice note, but it's a funny note to end on.
It is.
It's a funny note.
I like how I love how Endo ended it. You know, and I said this the last podcast. I really appreciate seeing Loid basically at the lowest point of his life and just being jaded and hating everything, and then he wakes up and it's all a bad dream, and he's at home with his family who care about him, and
but
you know,
let's not forget that little thought where he's like, quote unquote, Lloyd's house.
Yeah, but I think and here's my take on that, because I was talking with somebody about this. So I love the Persona series, not just 5, but also 3 and 4, because I didn't play the first 2. But I enjoy
like most people.
Yeah, I enjoy the concept of people grappling with their different masks and the different sides of themselves. And I think even though this part with Loid was, you know, it kind of sucked because he's like, okay, he doesn't consider himself Loid right now. But I think just like all of his other disguises, Loid is a piece of him. And
yeah,
I don't know, I just like seeing that, him slowly struggling with the idea that Loid and him are separate entities when they're not. And I want to see more of that later, and we will see more of that later. But I don't know. I kind of honestly, I saw it as more hopeful than what some of what like Senpai was like, kind of like angsting
her
over.
Interpretation, right?
Just like
I like that interpretation. I think there's definitely a nugget of truth to it. Loid or Twilight's the blur of the line between Loid and Twilight is blurring a lot more every single day, practically.
Yeah.
And I think somehow seeing his past before he was ever even Twilight to begin with helps kind of solidify that no, he's always been Loid, kind of
redacted.
A caring person
redacted.
who doesn't like to lie to people he cares about, but he has to because that's just part of his survival. It's just part of his line of work now. And he's already gone so far with the lie. It would kind of all come crashing down maybe whenever if he ever does or gets found out the truth by Yor, especially. I don't know. There's so many different ways I can picture Yor reacting to that.
But right now, I want this chapter to kind of be a roadmap for Endgame Loid, because just in the same way that he was confronted with the idea that misinformation and lies are what get people killed, he's based the rest of his whole life on lying. And we see that it kills him inside, because I mean, after the tennis arc, where he's just like, am I really gonna lie to my wife and my daughter about all of this? Is this worth it?
Right.
Even then, he was questioning it. So
yeah.
And then
as far back as what, chapter forgot, chapter 10 or
34, something
something,
like that.
when
Oh, yeah.
he was like, he put that bug on Yor, and then after he took it off and he realized that she was quote unquote innocent,
Yeah.
he asked himself, like, do you really feel guilty about not trusting your wife?
And he's like, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I want
yeah,
that. I want that to be Endgame. I want Loid at the end of this series to confront the idea that the lies aren't worth it, because they do get. I mean, they get people killed. They get the people that you love killed, and it
yeah,
doesn't end well for people when you base everything off of lies. So
yeah.
I want them to take that route with it. But who
And
knows?
I know people are like, even us, we've joked a lot about, like, I wonder what Lloyd's real name is, but it's like, I think Loid is just gonna be Loid forever. I think
Lloyd's gonna
that's
be
just
Loid.
gonna be his name because that's who we
Yeah.
know him as.
Yeah.
Yes, we know him as Twilight, but he really is just Lloyd, and I think he should just remain as Lloyd. I don't think like obsessing over what his real name is anything that gratifying, since we don't even get it in
Yeah, I
this
mean,
backstory.
this is pretty
So.
much like Scar from
I mean,
again from the
obsessing
trilogy.
over these small details, they don't really matter. What matters is that we learned a lot more about Twilight that we didn't know before.
Yeah.
I don't think learning what his real name was would,
Change anything.
like
I mean,
unlock some big secret per
Right.
again,
se.
it's like Scar from Full Metal Alchemist. That his name isn't relevant because it's just a label.
Right.
The
Right.
important thing about the character is what identity he um, decides from.
Yeah, I think the only way I would be okay with if they did some kind of dramatic name reveal is if Lloyd's father did come back and called him by it or something. But I have
Yeah,
no
like
idea what kind of plot or what kind of. Well, I guess I wouldn't understand what the meaning is behind doing that, because
I
I guess the closest thing would be something along the lines of Lloyd kind of having to grapple with his past
Yeah.
once more, but in this time he's not dreaming it and he's also going to remember it, and having to deal with the fact that maybe his father's still alive, and he knew his son as a child and now he sees his son as this grown person,
right.
um doing very dangerous things for the betterment of other children and whatnot.
Yeah. But I thoroughly enjoyed this chapter. I love this arc. I can't wait to see where they take it next. I want to see more backstory, but I
really,
want to see it later
yeah.
on down the line. I want to get the story back on track and moving forward. So hopefully we'll see that again in.
I hope there's something really substantial. I don't know if I'm in the mood for just more silly, goofy times.
Yeah, I
with
need
little
some
kids or
plot.
something.
Yeah, for sure.
I need some heavy like plot kind of.
I need some garden shit. That's
Another
what I
mission.
need right now.
Shit, yeah. I really, really, really want your backstory with Yuri so badly.
Yeah.
I really want to know what it was like for her growing up and having to join Garden at like what, practically a child. Like, what was it like for her?
Right.
I really, really want that. God damn it, Endo, please.
keeps
I am
us
begging
wanting
you.
more.
He'll never hear this podcast, but please.
Maybe he will. You never know. Endo Spy is always watching.
Yeah, but it's okay. This was still a really good episode, a really great chapter, and it was so good just all around. Getting all that heavy meat with Lloyd's character is always really good.
Yeah.
I do feel like this is well earned for us. Like, we've been with this family for so long. It feels like, oh, we definitely earned the right to get to know just like a smidge more.
Well, it
about
feels
Lloyd's
like we got to
backstory.
know, our favorite character more, and that's always a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it doesn't feel like it was, I guess, rushed. Like they
No,
would
not at all.
plot
It felt
something like this way
it
too
felt
soon.
overdue,
It
to
was,
be
like,
honest with you. But
a little bit, yeah, maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Because like, I mean, like even with yours arc, that was way overdue. Like she finally got one
Right.
good arc, and it took like 40 chapters. That's
Yeah.
a little unfair, Endo. Come
yeah,
on.
but we
Give
got
us
the best
more
arc out of
waifu.
it, so I'll let it slide.
We're gonna be talking about episode 6 because Crow's brain won't let him announce it properly.
Yes, there you go. Thank you, Blue.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Moving on. I think
a
we're
really
gonna,
good
yeah, I
reason.
think we're gonna go a little quick through the episode because I don't think a whole lot changed from the manga chapter. But it, as far as as far as the episode went, I think it was like pretty much like scene for scene exactly like it played out in the manga, right?
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. It was like it's very funny because now we have 2 episodes that are drawing from 2 chapters each, and they are pretty much like exactly the same.
Right. So, episode 6 covered chapters 7 and 8, and from my very fast scrolling through the chapters, like right now, it's pretty much play by play the exact same story.
Oh yeah, there was a change. There was a change that we
Yeah.
talk about.
There was a change.
The carrot.
The carrot.
The smoking carrot.
Oh right. No carrot weapon.
Now Yor doesn't think of a
He
carrot
could
as a
use
weapon. So as a
Well, I think it's more
potential
forgivable
weapon.
now because
He just doesn't know what a pumpkin is.
right. Well, I didn't know that was a
I thought that
pumpkin.
I thought that was a squash.
I thought
That's
it was a
pumpkin.
squash.
I mean maybe it's because I'm Mexican.
Because it looks like an Asian, like the way it's colored, it looks like an Asian squash. I don't know. I've seen that green squash a lot in my life.
I don't know,
It's
but
not
when
Asian
they
one.
said it was a
I was
pumpkin, no,
thinking, like as a pumpkin because where I live they're called pumpkins. Like,
Oh.
Really?
we make them as form of
Huh.
candy.
Really?
For Halloween.
pumpkin candy, squash pumpkin candy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah. So
learn something new every day on this
she
podcast.
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
she's buying things she doesn't know how to cook, and that's funny.
And yeah, all that
Yeah,
food.
well.
Huh.
I think I mean, honestly, there's not a lot to say about the episode. I really enjoyed. Well, one, I loved hearing Yor scream out, "This, I'm her mother!" Like, we were all waiting
Yeah.
for that.
I mean,
It was a really good performance.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't much to be crazy about that we didn't know about already.
Yeah.
Well,
I think think
Handler was amazing, but
yeah, I think this episode was a lot. It was I don't want to say more entertaining, but I think it was it meant a lot more to like anime onlys.
then to
Because I mean
right.
for us it's like, okay, we know there's more exciting stuff down the line, but like the parts that you do see in this episode are, I mean, you get the famous Anya faces, you get the punch.
Yeah, like it's great for fresh new fans, but for manga readers, it's like, oh, we already know what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be satisfying. And I have to say, I think I'm still riding off the high of episode 5. Like,
Yeah.
because there really isn't much to talk about. I mean, I love that they finally introduced Sylvia to the masses. I also love how they handled
The masses.
that chewing out, and Twilight is completely unfazed. Like, what? Do you think we're made of money? Actually, there's more expenses I have to.
Yeah, I love her line, dude. That takes a lot of balls.
Yeah, I saw that too. It was like, it takes a lot of balls to do what you did. Which,
yeah, the
okay,
characters are
adding on to that, leaning into the what we saw today in the manga chapter, that little line, I don't know, it's just more entertaining now, knowing that Handler has been with Loid for like half of his life at this point.
Since the beginning, yeah.
Like
For chapter 62.3.
Yeah.
for the whole time.
Maybe we could talk a little bit about the new voice actors that we got to hear. For the Eden kids.
I thought they were pretty good. Damien's,
I
you said it was deep. Like,
it personally, I thought he'd sound a little bit more higher pitched, like an actual, I guess, younger voice, because Anya's voice
sounds
I
like
guess sounds younger. Like, yeah, she sounds like she could realistically be 5 or something. And Damien's, I get the voice they're going for is supposed to be like this kind of smug, elitist, rich boy, fancy private school educated voice, but it sounded a little too deep for my liking. I thought he sounds more like 10 based off that voice for me than like 6.
It got a little more lighter towards the end of the episode, but yeah, I do see what you're saying.
That's because he was punched in the face.
Yeah.
Thinking about it now, his voice sort of reminds me of Hanako from Toilet Bound Hanako-kun.
Oh,
The
really?
the voice actress who does Hanako, she is also like, you know, an older woman, and she did voices like for Cardcaptor Sakura and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it's
Oh.
just like that quality of like, you can kind of tell it's a more, I guess, sort of feminine voice, but it's been deepened to sound a bit more masculine, but somehow that also makes them sound a bit older than they should as
Yeah.
a younger person. Um, so that's how I kind of feel about Damien's voice right now. I'm
Yeah.
sure I'll get over it. It just whatever.
Yeah, probably grow on us.
Yeah, Becky's voice
Yeah.
was really good. I
Yeah,
actually
I
was
like
really
Becky's
happy
voice.
with her voice.
I mean,
Becky's
I
voice
think
actress.
that Damien is the only one that sounded a little. I don't want to say off, but
Oh, he sounds like
Right.
he doesn't sound like he's from the same age group as the rest.
Yeah. It's
Unfortunately.
a little distracting. But
He's
I
very
think
advanced for his age.
that the rest of the voices are pretty spot on.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Even and Emil are great. Like,
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
They're not
I
bad.
think
I could listen to them. I think is the main goal of this. Is like they're not
Yeah.
grading, which is they're gonna be in it a lot. So thankful for that.
Here's some fun little trivia about some of the voice actors. Emil's voice actor, the kid with like the bowl cut.
Yep.
His voice actress was the tailor shop clerk, so that older woman working with the seamstress
Oh yeah.
at the cash register. She
That's
was
fun.
also some of the other students from like the scene when they were taking the first exam to
Oh,
get
yeah.
into school, and she was
Ah.
also the child who was stuck in the sewer gutter
Oh really?
from the from the
I
Eden
mean,
Cafe interview.
I mean, if you have competent voice actors already, whether
Well, I was gonna say they look very
as well as
similar.
their-
Emil
They
and
do.
that
They
kid
look like they
in the
could
gutter.
literally be brothers.
Right.
Because it's like that chubby kid quality, I guess.
Yeah, he's just got that
little
voice,
bit. Yeah.
It would be fun if they were. You know?
Damien's voice actress, Natsumi Fujiwara, she's done a lot of like young boy protagonist roles.
Oh yeah.
Like practically her entire lineup is just young boy, so it makes a lot of sense that they picked her to be Damien to fit in.
Yeah.
Becky's voice actress, Emiri Kato.
Hmm.
Kato. The only notable thing I noticed is that she's done a lot of like younger girl voices, and the only one I was able to recognize was very obscure from the Powerpuff Girls Z anime.
Oh my god, that's
There's a wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
There's a Powerpuff Girls anime.
There was a Powerpuff Girl like reimagined anime that they did
Yeah,
of like, but the
I know
girls
the
aren't
series.
sisters. They're
I
like
hate
from
it.
three
I hate
completely
it,
different
but-
families. It's more
Yeah.
magical girl. They all happen to go to the same
Yeah,
school. And she
I
was
didn't like
Blossom.
it. They absolutely ruined him. In the
Oh my
series.
god.
They
But yeah,
absolutely ruined him.
she was Blossom in that one, and the
What?
funniest
What?
thing for that one is because Blossom in that show, she was completely different from the Cartoon Network version. In the anime version, she's boy crazy and she loves sweets, and she's also not very mature. Yeah,
Sounds
so she's-
okay. Sounds like
And
I didn't miss
she
much.
was also
that
someone
series.
named Cube from Magical Record. I don't know, some weird cat-looking alien thing.
Yeah.
What?
Um,
Wait, what?
Cube from Magica Record.
Madoka
Club.
Magica?
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah?
Oh
I
my
just,
god, question mark? That's bad news.
I just know that people hate it. It's like that weird
Oh,
cat
that-
alien
that-
thing
that-
with like
if
the
you
red
see-
eyes.
Cat.
If you
alien.
see
Oh,
Magical
Madoka
Magica?
Magica.
You shoot the
Yeah.
fucking cat.
Well, we should just, I guess, talk about the amazing punch. That was like the most exciting thing from the episode.
That yeah. I mean, and you know what's really
it was
fun.
a good punch.
Yeah, you know what's fun about that is because I mean I had mentioned for us we've seen it before, blah blah blah, anime only. This is their first time really seeing Anya as Anya, because
Yeah.
she's the very the first few episodes she's been the very cutesy girl and she's adorable and stuff like that. But we know she's a little shit. So
Yep.
to see, I was watching. That's like my pastime now. Is like after I watch the episode, I go back and watch the reactions, like the compilations.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
everyone lost their shit when she did the punch.
Rightfully
As
so.
they should.
Rightfully
I mean,
Yeah.
it was real fun to read the first time. Oh yeah, also little tidbit. Anya rolling in the ground.
Anya
Oh,
rolling
yeah,
on the
that
ground.
was really
That was a
cute.
random addition, but it was cute.
It was
That was very
perfect.
cute. Yes.
I do think that the impact of the punch was very well done.
I was very
It, like, you
fluid. I
felt-
appreciated that. I thought they were
yeah,
gonna do like a
you could
still frame
feel-
of it, like
I
you know.
Yeah.
It was
No,
actually
it was
really well
very
done.
like, yeah, it was
I mean,
very like you could
I
feel
felt it.
I wish
Damien felt
I wish
it
they
for
lingered
sure.
a little more in the on the kids' faces because they had this. Holy shit!
Oh yeah, those round eyes with like
Yeah.
completely shocked expressions.
Like they,
Yeah.
I wish they lingered a little longer on that, but
Also, I love Anya's stupid little face afterwards when Henderson's like, "What happened?"
Yeah.
And she's just like,
Yeah,
he ran into my fist."
Ran into my fist. Oh, I loved all her. Like they did a good job translating all the manga panels into what her expressions actually
Yes,
were.
they
Like
definitely
they
kept
look
them.
as silly as they did in the manga. I'm glad they didn't try to like cutify it or something.
Right.
I don't know if that's a word, but I'm glad they didn't try to like make it more cutesy. It's like, no, it's hilarious. She fucking punched some poor kid. Not poor kid.
Poor
It's
kid.
Damien.
It's fucking
She
Damien.
punched
I
something
mean,
in the
he
face.
was being a little shit himself.
And she tried her hardest, like, I have plausible deniability.
Right.
That was
you know
great.
what's really I really liked how Anya handled that situation. Like she was like I mean she took a page out of her papa's playbook, but she was just like he walked into my fist, and he's like, well, no, that's not what happened, and he's like, well, do you have proof that that's what happened? Like
Yeah, I love that. And I love that she kept thinking back to what Yor was saying about, like, remember, Anya, you shouldn't just punch people.
right.
You should have a really good reason to, like, protecting a friend. And you know, low-key, she didn't really mean to, but she kind of lied her way into saying, oh, I got mad because he hit, you know, he stepped on Becky's foot.
Yeah.
And Becky totally was like, oh my god, you're so cool, Anya, and you protected me.
Best friends
How
for
sweet."
life. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is sweet because it did blossom into them becoming good friends
Yeah.
based off a lie. And just the sheer amount of like fan art and fanfic I've seen blossom because of this Damiana moment
Yeah.
was really really good.
I have yet to like
Oh,
look at
yeah.
them, but yeah, no, I definitely saw the thread going like crazy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I will be reading into some of that later.
Yeah. Why don't we have like that little angsty detail about the photograph? You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that we actually
The
see
school
Damien
photograph.
added into
And
the photo, and
His
he's
parents aren't
nobody.
there.
Yeah,
He's just standing by himself.
that's
Poor Damien.
All the way in the top right corner.
Oh well.
yeah, that's
He gets more
That's really
sympathetic
sad.
later. I still don't feel sympathetic for him. You know what? I honestly, I want to look at that picture and see if, like, I could see some of the other classmates that are coming up, like Billy Watkins or like George Gluman.
You definitely see Becky, Ewan, and Emil, I
Emil.
believe.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. They are.
you don't
they
see
are
Damien
there.
in that photo, surprisingly.
Really, I want to look for
Probably.
Billy because I know he's coming up soon. So I don't know.
Isn't he in another class?
I think.
Oh yeah. Yes,
He's
he
in
is.
yeah.
You're right.
He's not in Cecile Hall, unfortunately. So
He's in Klein Hall, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Different class.
Sorry, Billy. You're still my
Also,
favorite though.
you're- also, like I said before, we are actually starting to see some wonky drawings here that
Oh
may
yeah,
get
the
corrected in-
zoom in.
The zoom in looks really
It
wonky.
was crazy wonky. I don't know why they went so hard on it, but like.
I mean, it's hilarious, but
It is.
Yeah.
but yeah, I bet this one is gonna get some Blu-ray redraws.
Yeah. But that was the episode. That was the chapter. Again, we have new episode next week, next Saturday, and then the following Sunday is
Yeah.
chapter 64.
another
So
chapter.
we'll definitely do podcast then.
Finally.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye.
Da-da-da.